In a world suffocated by debt, inequality, and desperation, Squid Game tells the story of people pushed to their limits, forced to gamble their lives for a chance at freedom. It's a deadly series of childhood games where losing means death and winning promises unimaginable wealth. Let's dive into everything that happened in Season 1 of Squid Game. Our story begins with Seong Gi-hun, a 47-year-old man who has hit rock bottom. Gi-hun is a divorced, unemployed gambler living with his sick mother in a small, run-down apartment. He struggles to provide for his daughter, Ga-young, who is about to move to the United States with her mother and stepfather. Crippled by debts and pursued by loan sharks, Gi-hun spends his days in hopelessness. One day, while waiting at a subway station, Gi-hun is approached by a well-dressed stranger who invites him to play a simple game called Dakji, where players flip paper tiles. For every round Gi-hun loses, he gets slapped in the face, but when he finally wins, he's handed cash and a mysterious card. On the card are three simple shapes: a circle, a triangle, and a square, along with a phone number. Desperate for money, Gi-hun calls the number and agrees to join what he believes is an opportunity to change his life. Gi-hun is taken, blindfolded and unconscious, to a massive unknown facility where he wakes up in a dormitory surrounded by 405 other participants. Each player is wearing a green tracksuit and is identified by a unique number. Gi-hun is player 456. The group quickly realizes they've all been brought here because of their financial struggles. The facility is run by armed guards in pink uniforms, their faces concealed behind masks marked with the same symbols as on the card: circles, triangles, and squares. Above them all is the enigmatic frontman, the overseer of the games. The players are presented with a shocking opportunity. They will compete in 6 games over several days, and the last person standing will win a life-changing prize: 45.6 billion won, around 38 million. However, the cost of losing is death. Despite the risk, the lure of financial freedom proves irresistible for many. The first game begins. Red light, green light. The rules are simple. Players must cross a large field while a robotic doll watches over them. When the doll says green light, they can move. When it says red light, they must freeze. Anyone caught moving is eliminated. What begins as an innocent childhood game quickly turns into horror. The doll's elimination is revealed to be deadly. Players are shot on sight if they move during red light. Panic erupts, and many are gunned down as they flee in terror. Those who remain are forced to focus on survival. Gi-hun barely escapes death with the help of Ali Abdul, player 199, a kind and strong migrant worker. By the end of the first game, over half the players are dead. The survivors realize the gravity of their situation. After the massacre of Game 1, the players are given a choice. According to the rules, if the majority votes to end the games, everyone can leave. The decision comes down to Oh Il-nam, player 001, an elderly man with a terminal brain tumor who ultimately votes to end the games. The players are released back into the real world, but their relief is short-lived. Outside, they are met with the same crushing realities that brought them into the game: debts, poverty, and hopelessness. Many realize that life outside is no less cruel than the games. One by one, they return willingly, including Gi-hun, Ali, Il-nam, and Cho Sang-woo, player 218, Gi-hun's childhood friend and a disgraced businessman facing arrest for fraud. We also meet Kang Se-byuk, player 067, a North Korean defector desperate to reunite her family. The second game is deceptively simple. Players must cut a shape, a circle, triangle, star, or umbrella, out of a thin honeycomb candy using only a needle. The challenge lies in not breaking the delicate candy. Gi-hun, of course, chooses the most difficult shape, the umbrella. As players sweat and panic, Sang-woo figures out the game's nature ahead of time, but keeps it to himself. Meanwhile, Gi-hun, through sheer desperation and ingenuity, realizes he can lick the candy to make it easier to extract. He narrowly survives. Others are not so lucky. The arena is filled with gunshots as players who fail are executed. This game sets the stage for what's to come. Players will need cunning, luck, and a willingness to bend morality to survive. Between games, alliances begin to form. Gi-hun partners with Sang-woo, Se-byuk, Ali, and Il-nam. Each player brings something to the table: Sang-woo's intelligence, Ali's strength, Se-byuk's resourcefulness, Il-nam's wisdom, and Gi-hun's determination. However, the night brings unexpected violence. The guards allow the players to turn on each other, encouraging chaos to thin the numbers. A deadly fight breaks out in the dormitory, and Gi-hun's team bands together for survival. In Game 3, the players face a deadly version of tug of war. Teams of 10 must pull their opponents off a high platform. Those who fall plummet to their deaths. Gi-hun's team, considered weak because it includes an elderly man and 2 women, faces certain defeat. However, Il-nam uses strategy to their advantage. He recalls techniques from his youth, and with Sang-woo's quick thinking, they win against all odds. This victory strengthens their bond, but it also highlights a brutal reality. Strength alone doesn't determine survival. The 4th game is the most emotionally devastating, Marbles. Players pair up, believing they will play as a team. Instead, they are told to compete against each other. The loser is eliminated. Gi-hun and Il-nam. Gi-hun, paired with the elderly Il-nam, initially struggles to win. Il-nam, in a heartbreaking display of confusion due to his illness, allows Gi-hun to win, though it's implied he knows exactly what's happening. Il-nam thanks Gi-hun for their time together before being eliminated. Se-byuk and Ji-young. Ji-young, a young woman with no family or purpose, sacrifices herself so Se-byuk can continue and reunite with her brother, Sang-woo and Ali. In one of the most devastating betrayals, Sang-woo tricks Ali into giving up his marbles, causing Ali to be killed. This game shatters the players emotionally, leaving them scarred and distrustful. The 5th game is a deadly test of luck and strategy. Players must cross a bridge made of glass panels. Each step could be fatal. One panel is tempered glass that holds weight, while the other shatters. The players are forced to sacrifice themselves for those behind them. Sang-woo's ruthlessness is on full display when he pushes a hesitant player to their death to save himself. By the end, only 3 survive: Gi-hun, Sang-woo, and Se-byuk. However, Se-byuk is gravely injured by shattered glass. As the 3 remaining players rest before the final game, Gi-hun discovers Se-byuk is bleeding out from her injury. While he seeks help, Sang-woo strikes once more, killing Se-byuk in her weakened state. Gi-hun is left devastated and furious. The final game is a brutal, violent face-off between Gi-hun and Sang-woo. The 2 childhood friends, now bitter rivals, fight for survival in a rain-soaked arena. Gi-hun overpowers Sang-woo, but refuses to deliver the final blow, offering instead to end the game without a winner. Sang-woo, overwhelmed by guilt and shame, stabs himself, choosing to die on his own terms. With his final breath, he asks Gi-hun to take care of his mother. Gi-hun is declared the winner of Squid Game. Gi-hun returns to the real world with the prize money, but is a broken man. He discovers that his mother has died while he was in the games, and the wealth he fought for feels meaningless. Months later, Gi-hun remains in a state of depression, unable to spend the money. One day, he receives a message leading him to a shocking discovery. Oh Il-nam is alive. The elderly man who Gi-hun thought had died during the marbles game reveals himself as the mastermind behind Squid Game. Il-nam explains that the games were created as entertainment for the ultra-wealthy, a twisted way to relieve their boredom while testing human nature. Il-nam dies shortly after, but his revelation ignites a fire in Gi-hun. As Gi-hun prepares to leave for the United States to reunite with his daughter, he sees the same recruiter playing Dokji with another desperate individual. Realizing the games are still ongoing, Gi-hun calls the number on his invitation card, vowing to uncover the truth and stop the games. With determination in his voice, he declares, "I'm not a horse, I'm a person." The season ends with Gi-hun walking away, a new sense of purpose driving him forward. And so, the deadly games may be far from over. Season 1 of Squid Game not only explored human desperation, but revealed the corruption, greed, and cruelty that exist at every level of society. Now, one survivor, Song Gi-hun, is determined to fight back. But can he stop the game before it claims more lives? Only time will tell.